Welcome to RE Uncut. Our daily shows are supported by Printforce, Shore Agents, Rockend and CoreLogic.
Hello and welcome to the show. My guest this week is Jacob Aldrige, and you'll find his website jacobaldrige.com. And there, you'll find a link that'll take you to a really interesting section on his website, which is called Don't Waste a Good Recession. We don't want to make light of what we're going through right now, but there are some very powerful lessons we can learn from this to take through and make sure we come out the other end looking much rosier than when we first went in fact. Jacob Aldrige back in just a moment to talk about your risk appetite. Back in a minute.
Outsourcing will dramatically improve your productivity and profitability. Shore Agents have created a staffing solution to provide great staff who can perform duties in property management, sales, marketing and administration, and at a fraction of the cost, giving you and the team more time to spend on the dollar productive tasks. With rising costs and slowing revenue, the focus must be on value for money. Check it out, shoreagents.com.
My guest this week, Jacob Aldrige, jacobaldrige.com. Jacob, welcome to the show once again, talking about not wasting the opportunities, I think, that of this time. It's difficult. Let's talk about risk appetite. Do you have to have a big risk appetite to be in business? Is that a good thing?
You definitely have to take risks to survive in business. Even starting a business is a risk. Here in Australia, it's something like half of all businesses don't survive the first 3 years. If you're not willing to take a risk, if you're not willing to invest in people, systems, an office, branding, spend that money with no guarantee of return, then absolutely your business is not going to succeed. And times like this, when there's a lot of fear and uncertainty out in the market, the environment, that's when a lot of business owners can react, not consciously, just on that emotional level, and they can really wind down their risk appetite, which is absolutely a mistake to be making.
Yeah, well, why we have to have a risk appetite, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to take risks.
No. Taking risks doesn't mean acting riskily.
That's right.
You can certainly be calm and cautious and take educated risks. Let's say right now, you know that there's a top agent in your market. The kind of agent, he or she is the sort of person you'd love to have on your team. But the reality is they were never going to jump ship while they had a full book of listings and the market was hot. Right now might be an incredible opportunity for you to bring them over. If listings are dwindling and perhaps their current principal is not doing what they need to do to support the culture of the team and that forward vision. Now, maybe that's going to cost you some money, some time. Maybe you've got to make some promises and commitments in order to get that great agent to come over. If you do that right now, if you show strength when others are being fearful, then that's going to set you up for the long-term future of your business. And that's just one of many examples that I'm seeing talking to principals, property management, heads of department around Australia at the moment. They're seeing opportunity. Some of them are taking a risk, but they're being definitive. Others are sitting on their hands, and I absolutely think that they're going to bear the brunt of that for the long term.
How would you rate yourself? What's your risk rating?
Look, I'm not the most gung-ho person that I know. My risk profile is about a 6.5 out of 10, and that's the scale that I tend to use with business owners, is a scale of 1 to 10. Anything under 6, I think you will struggle in business. The reality is, if you look at my business, it's very much a lifestyle business. I do a lot of travel. I essentially run my own organisation. And, there are risks that I could take in terms of hiring staff, training staff, more brand and marketing that would grow my business. And I'm not comfortable doing those. But at the same time, I'm comfortable taking some risks and running my own business. There are agencies out there, and we all see them, and we're going to see less of them over the next 18 months, who maybe have a similar approach to me. They've kept it small. They've tried not to spend money. And if they don't have the expertise to navigate uncertain waters, then that lack of risk-taking is going to impact them, just as there are some gung-ho business owners who will continue to make rash decisions, and maybe they'll pay off. Sometimes, of course, they don't.
Yeah. Hey, you said your risk rating was, what was it, 6.3 or 6.5 or something?
Yeah, I'm about a 6.5 out of 10. Most of the principals that I work with in a consulting space sit somewhere between a 7 and a 9. You do meet the occasional one who is a little bit lower, and I have some fun with the people who are a 9.5, 10 out of 10 on the risk profile matrix, but boy, do they need a good team around them. Not to hold back those natural instincts, just to make sure they're building the systems in behind it so that those risks aren't as risky as they might be.
So what's your experience with someone who has a very high risk profile, like around a 9 or a 9.5? Are they good at building teams to support them in that, that risky environment?
It depends on their experience and strategic capability. I've worked with some CEOs who, have multinational organizations and they have that kind of risk profile. And what they've done, sometimes by design, sometimes by luck, is they've got a very strong 2IC or a COO or in some cases even someone who's running the business. And we'd all know principals and principal partnerships that are like that, where one of them might be very gung-ho, they might be the face of the agency, but there's another partner who's a little bit behind the scenes, but is making sure that those things in the background are working. And when that relationship is strong, then that's when the business works. When they sit there and go, you might be a 9 out of 10 and I might be a 7 out of 10, but together we're going to run this agency as an 8, or even we're going to run this agency as a 9 out of 10. When you've got that agreement about the business, then you're in a position to make strong, consistent decisions. It's when you get friction, and that can absolutely happen, when the person who's a 9 out of 10 can't understand why anyone would act slower. Why wouldn't you spend this money? Why wouldn't you do this? You're an idiot for not listening to me. And if that's their attitude, it doesn't matter. They might be some great decisions that they're making. They're not going to have the team come along on the journey because the team are going to feel that they're not being heard.
Gee, there's some key things in there, some great messages about partnerships and, being tolerant with each other. And you've got a 9 and you've got a 7 and, they're just not getting on. Do you... that's obviously a very important part of what you do, is finding out the risk profile of the person you're going to be working with. Is there some way to find out what our risk profile is?
There are a number of different ways. Most financial planner websites have got some tools on there, and there's one in particular that I recommend, which is the Sherlaw's Compass Risk Indicator, which I recommend because it breaks down in business. And people can Google Sherlaw's Compass, or they can look at the links. My website, Don't Waste a Good Recession, to analyse it themselves. Many people have a pretty good gut feel of their risk profile. They know whether they're a little bit risk averse or a little bit gung-ho. And the main thing that I encourage, particularly when I go into those partnerships, is to have the conversation. There's no right or wrong. It's just when you don't have that awareness, you're going to start butting heads because you're acting through your risk profile instead of talking about your risk appetite.
Fascinating stuff. Jacob Aldrige is my guest. You'll get his website, jacobaldrige.com. Come back tomorrow. Jacob, we'll talk about the train, the movement, and how a lot of businesses have momentum. How do you build that momentum up? But then sometimes how do you turn it around? So we'll talk about that tomorrow when Jacob Aldrige comes back. Thanks for your time, Jacob.
Cheers, Kevin.
The daily RE Uncut shows are supported by Printforce, Shore Agents, Rockend and CoreLogic. RE Uncut is one of the anchor shows at retplus.com, the home of property.